Hello everyone, I'm Eszter Vajda. We're at the Campus Center at Merrimack College. Did you know that 40% of the students that go to school here are first generation? We'll talk to someone who started a program to help these students, some mentors, and those who benefited. Next.
Generation Merrimack is a unique support initiative here out of the O'Brien Center for Student Success at Merrimack College. We support all of the incoming first year and transfer first generation college students in their transition in and through college, supplying them with endless resources in the area of social, professional, and career development, as well as the overall academic transition.
40% of those attending Merrimack College never had parents who went to college. What are some of the obstacles that they face?
So for first generation college students, as compared to non-first generation college students, typically have a great number of struggles since neither of their parents graduated with a bachelor's degree or higher. So here at Merrimack, when students come in and they have are identifying themselves as first generation, typically they come in with numerous questions that their parents are unable to answer, or people in their direct community are unable to answer for them. So many times these questions, if they go unanswered, can really hinder a student's success. So through Generation Merrimack, we make sure that all of those questions are answered for them.
What kind of questions would they have?
So really any question you can think of. So on my first day of college, my questions ranged from where can I eat my bagged lunch on campus? Where is the nearest bathroom? Do I have to raise my hand in class to go to the bathroom? Do I need to bring all my books for all of my classes for today? Can a professor randomly call on class? Do I need an internship my first year? How do I pay this bill? Are there any scholarships available? Just the terminology of college and in of itself, one of my biggest questions was, am I an undergraduate student or am I a graduate student? Just because neither of those terms are anything I had ever heard before.
Kayla Brittany and Amanda, part of Generation Merrimack here. Why did you guys get involved?
I originally got an email from a stranger that I had no idea who it was, and she actually reached out to me saying that she was my mentor for Generation Merrimack. I had no idea what Generation Merrimack was because it was kind of a foreign term, I guess, and originally that was my first question, what is Generation Merrimack? And she helped me to address that problem, and then once I realized what it was, she was there for me for whatever I needed, so it was good.
And then you became a mentor yourself. Why?
I think definitely being Generation 1 is just who's defined who I am today. Coming from, an urban situation, we didn't grow up with a lot of money. We didn't really have a lot of things. So it just is kind of shaped who I am, and I just kind of want to go forward with that.
And Brittany, you come from New Hampshire. Brittany, you said you were actually sad your first year, and you called your mom every day.
Yeah, I was, even though my roommate was actually Generation 1 herself, so we kind of went through it together and we had the same mentor and we kind of built off each other's energy, but I just still couldn't really shake out of being homesick. But eventually Generation Merrimack and meeting new people and gaining new friends helped me through that.
And you used to call your mom every day, and what did you say to her?
I would just kind of tell her that I was really homesick and kind of beg her to come down and see me, even though it's really not that far. It's only like an hour and a half, and I have family that lives like 20 minutes from here. But it was just a whole new environment for me, and I was used to being with classmates since kindergarten, so it was weird not seeing them every day.
Amanda, you're studying Generation Merrimack. What are some of the things that you've learned?
So first of all, taking that class, First Generation College Student Experience, I learned about first generation college students in general, about the characteristics, experiences they go through, how we can support them specifically. I am a first generation college student, so when I was learning all about that, I definitely related to first generation college students. When I was an undergrad, I didn't even realize I was a first generation college student, but some of the difficulties that I had in undergrad now makes sense to me now that I'm learning about first generation college students. I came from a family where neither of my parents went to college. We didn't really have a ton of money growing up, so it was difficult for me to pay for school, and I also worked part-time throughout undergrad to support myself at the time too.
What are some of the other characteristics of a first generation college goer?
So first generation college students, have trouble figuring out resources on campus, navigating campus. Their parents usually have never been on a college campus, so they're not really sure where to go to for financial aid or who to talk to about tutoring and things like that. Time is a huge issue, not all the time, but sometimes for first-generation college students, and finances.
Brittany, what advice do you have for kids? You actually, Brittany, went back to your high school to talk about this. What are some of the things that you told them?
I basically told them, since my high school was really small, my graduating class was 64 students, so I basically told them that, you know, you're basically going to be a little fish in a big pond now instead of a big fish in a small pond. And just tell them that they need to put themselves out there and try to make new friends and try to get involved as much as they can. It's not like high school where you know everyone and everything and you can just jump right into something knowing that you'll have friends there to do it with.
And now you're a mentor yourself?
Yeah.
What have you gotten out of it?
I really like helping the students because I know, although some of them might not admit it, they might feel the same way I did when I was a freshman, homesick and scared. So I like helping them in that aspect.
And what have you gotten out of being a mentor yourself?
It's definitely rewarding. I know for myself, I had a lot of questions and problems when I was a freshman myself, finance, things like that. So I know it's definitely relieving to have that sort of backbone coming into a college, knowing that you have that go-to person, that person that's going to address all your problems and things like that. So I like being that person. I like
a big buddy.
Exactly.
For us, being a part of Generation Merrimack, just being there for students and knowing that we can help them is awesome.
Okay, so your biggest advice for kids coming into college would be what, Amanda?
I would say take advantage of the resources that are on campus, especially if there is a program that supports first-generation college students. Don't ignore it. If you need help, take the help.
My first and biggest piece of advice is don't be ashamed if you're Generation Merrimack, because it's a big step and it's something you should be proud of. Also, just stick yourself out there, make friends, and try to get involved with as much as you can on campus.
Mine would definitely be to ask questions. There's never a wrong thing to ask. If you have a question about something, you should ask it. If you're not sure about your classes, or if you don't have anyone to sit with at lunch, ask questions is the best thing you could do in college.
Well said, you guys. Being part of Generation Merrimack means you're actually part of the big O'Brien Center family, and you've gotten some internships from it. Tell me about it.
Definitely. I actually landed an internship slash part-time job at a surgical office down in North Andover.
And Brittany?
Yeah, definitely the resources here have been a huge help. I don't think if I was part of Generation Merrimack I would have known about the resume critique hours or the internship opportunities. And this past semester I actually worked with the Merrimack Athletics program and interned with Patrick Spiegel, who's the marketing and ticketing director.
Very cool. And Amanda?
So as part of Generation Merrimack, I'm a graduate student, so it's a little different, but I learned about First Generation College Student Summit that they have. It's the third one coming up, and I'm going to that summit and I'm presenting at it with the program coordinator of Generation Merrimack, Tia Roy.
Joining me is Heather Mayetta here with the O'Brien Center at Merrimack College, who helped start Generation Merrimack. Why start this program?
We recognize through higher education that there are certain populations of students who need additional support. And in particular, first-generation college students come to college with a strong interest in being in college and a really strong motivation, but they have specific barriers that sometimes challenge them. And in particular, the barriers are very career focused. So for instance, we find that some first generation college students don't have a robust network, professional network when they come into college. And so that's something that the O'Brien Center can do, is to help them through our professional network, our alumni, and the relationships that we have with some corporations, to help them connect with professionals in their field. The other thing is that a lot of first generation college students, certainly not all, have a financial need when they come into college, and so they'll be working full or part-time jobs while they're in school. So what we want to do through Generation Merrimack is really connect them to paid internship and co-op opportunities so that they're doing both things. They're working, but they're working towards a position that's relevant to the degree that they're seeking.
40% of the Merrimack students here now are first generation. How has that changed over the years?
So we have data going back probably 6 to 7 years, and it has stayed relatively stable between 38 and 42%. It has fluctuated not very much in the last 6 or 7 years.
What kind of progress have you been able to see since Generation Merrimack started?
Yeah, sure. So we have increased participation in first generation college students' relationship with our center. And so we're having them engage with us early and more often than we had seen previously. The other thing is that the awareness on campus of who first generation college students are and what it means to be first generation is probably our biggest gain. When I came here in 2011 and then started the program in 2012, there was very little talk about what it meant to be a first generation college student. And we know nationally that first generation college students population is increasing. So in higher education, this is something that we as professionals really need to be aware of. And I think Generation Merrimack has helped the staff and faculty and students of Merrimack College really become more educated and aware of this population.
What's a message that you would give first generation goers? You know, their parents didn't go, their parents are so excited, they're overly excited, and the kids are all nervous and sad when they get here.
Right, sure. So I would think certainly for all college students, but in particular for first generation college students, that there is support out there to help them. And whether you're going to Merrimack College or whether you're going to a different institution, reach out to your career center early because they can help you across the board, across the 4 or 5 years that you're in your undergraduate program, and the support's there. And if you take that first step in connecting with them, then it's really going to pay dividends at the end.
That's our show. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.